I don't know. You could tell me. I mean, I did the same things every night that I wanted to do, and came with the will to win, and just didn't work out. It's a good question.
How is that for your revenge game? All that and more coming up from Ryan Donato and his line mates, all former members of the San Jose Sharks. It's a Seattle Kraken game day.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are the Seattle Kraken.
More spice and everything nice from Ryan Donato and more, but it is a Seattle Kraken game day. The Kraken are on the road. They're going to be heading up to NoCal as they take on the San Jose Sharks tonight and then the Anaheim Ducks tomorrow. I am Erica Lindsay Ayala, your host of Locked On Kraken, your only daily podcast covering the 32nd NHL team, the Seattle Kraken. We are going to talk about game day. We're going to hear from Donato, Donskoy, and True, all who have roots in San Jose, and you'll hear from one of them in each of our segments. We'll start with Donato in segment number 1. But before we hear from Donato about his return in full, what he had to say, or partially in full, would not be full at all. You're going to hear at least in part from Donato. I talked to him about having different line mates. He obviously weighed in about why it didn't work out in San Jose and also COVID. But on that last one, I saw a tweet. 28 players went on into COVID protocol. I think 29 people overall in the NHL between all of the 32 teams. 29 new people were added to COVID protocol. We saw the game versus the Wild, and I believe they were playing Carolina. That game got postponed. We're hearing a lot of other things about short benches, but 29 people went into COVID protocol just today. Because Seattle, we didn't have anyone new go into COVID protocol, but we've already got a handful of guys. That's why Alexander True has been called up. Of those 29, for just today, not in COVID protocol overall, 28 are in COVID protocol because they tested positive. I saw a tweet that said something to that effect. A lot of people wondering if it's time for the NHL to take a pause. I know there's conversation about, well, that can't happen, CBA, lockout, blah, blah, blah. I tell you what, you can try to avoid a lockout, but you can't avoid a worldwide pandemic that has been going on. Everyone's trying their best. There are people that are trying their best to do what they need to do for COVID, whether it's in the National Hockey League and hockey or just overall. That being said, variants happen. Not everyone is at the same level of responsible, if responsible at all. So there's a lot of different variables that honestly the NHL can't account for. And I think what's more important is that you actually have players for the long run, as opposed to having to adjust agreements that you made before COVID was a thing and that were created years ago. You have to be nimble. Lord knows that a lot of times those in power, they sure expect the rest of us to be nimble. So you would think that for the betterment of society, hockey could get its stuff together. We shall see. But Ryan Donato did talk about COVID. You'll hear me ask about playing on a variety of lines, but you'll also hear him refer to his line for today. And we didn't get the full lines from Dave Haxtell, but we know that in practice and for skating, what we've seen is Ryan Donato, Alexander True, and Jonas Donskoy skating together. All three happen to have ties to San Jose. All three played in San Jose. So first up, we're going to hear from Donato on COVID, I'll hear him talking about just having different lines change, and then we'll get to that spice that we played in the beginning of the show where, let me just put it this way, I've mentioned it before on the show, Ryan Donato's making sure all of y'all know that he loves us more. I've talked about it before. I've had people come at me like, oh, Ryan Donato, like, enjoyed while it lasts. Ryan Donato, didn't last here. Ryan Donato. As I continually say, he didn't love you like he loves us. So Ryan Donato, we're going to hear from him right now. And in the next segment, we're going to hear from one of his line mates, but I'm also going to go over the stats for the game. And teaser, spoiler alert, he is one of my players to watch. Here's Donato after morning skate today.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's scary. It is, but I mean, at the end of the day, we've been dealing with it for so long now that I think guys are used to it, but it's tough when it happens to you. It's obviously a little different. And when you have guys and friends and teammates that get it, it's a little bit more nerve-wracking because it could have been just as easy you or your family member. So, yeah, it's definitely a little nerve-wracking. But, yeah, I mean, we've been dealing with it for so long. We just know that it's next guy up. And, I mean, everybody's going to have an opportunity at some point with the way things have been going. No, not really. But I think we know as a team that, I mean, staying healthy is super vital. I mean, it is at any point. I mean, if you have a 10-day injury, it's going to cost the team a lot. So we know how important it is to make sure you're maintaining your distance from people and not going to the public as much as you should, but just making sure you're just being cognizant of your own stuff and I don't know, just making sure you're healthy as possible. I mean, it's tough to do, but it is what it is. Yeah, no, I mean, things change very fast, as we've seen. I mean, I just want to bring the same game. I want to win my battles and help the team win in whatever way I can. I think I'm a guy that likes to create offense and push offense. And for me, I think no matter where I am in the lineup, I can do that. So obviously, I want to play a game that's smart and a 200-foot game and that kind of stuff. But I think up and down the lineup, I could play in most positions, and I think a lot of guys on our team can do that as well.
As I promised, in each one of our segments today, we're going to hear from a former San Jose Shark. We just heard from Ryan Donato. Coming up next, we'll hear from Alexander True. But what's true is that you're not going to get a better gift package than what Omaha Steaks has to offer. What's a holiday memory without Omaha Steaks? The holidays are quite literally around the corner, and finding the perfect gift can be tricky. But Omaha Steaks makes it easy to send friends and family an unforgettable gift guaranteed to be loved. If you go to omahasteaks.com and enter NHL in the search bar, you will find the perfect gift package. For $99.99, you'll get 24 entrees like the world famous bacon wrapped filet mignon. Oh, my goodness. Chicken breast, sides, desserts, and so much more. And when you use code NHL, you'll also get 8 Omaha Steak burgers for free as a part of your perfect gift package. We've all heard the reports about shortages and things being delayed. Get your order in. Get it in now. omahasteaks.com. Type in NHL for the fantastic perfect gift package. Achieving gifting greatness with Omaha Steaks. Incredible flavor, incredible value, and 100% guaranteed. Don't forget, omahasteaks.com. Keyword NHL. Let's show the Pacific Northwest happy, I usually say snacking, but this is more like a meal. Before we get back to the regularly scheduled program, if you're going to get a perfect gift package, what you also want to make sure is that you stay connected and you listen to podcasts for the power of knowledge, and you switch to Boost Mobile for the power of saving money. Get 3 unlimited lines for $30 a month per line, and you get a free 5G phone when you switch. And you can get all your latest episodes because you've got your latest technology so that you can keep up with Locked On Kraken. And you'll get that all in one of America's largest 5G networks. More power to save, Boost Mobile. Let me give you this disclaimer though. Free phone is limited to new customers and one per line. Additional restrictions may apply. Offers and coverage not available everywhere or for all phones or network. So go to boostmobile.com for the details. As always, thank you for making Locked On Kraken one of your first listens of the day. We're coming to you after the morning skate. You already heard Ryan Donato. Basically, when he was asked why he's not with San Jose, he was like, wish I could tell you. If you know, let me know. I love that spice. I love Donato. And yeah, he's one of my players to watch. First ever Kraken goal on the road scored by Ryan Donato. And he's really making a strong case for himself. As I mentioned earlier, it's being reported that he will be with Alexander True and Jonas Donskoy, all with former ties to the San Jose Sharks. So here's what we know about the San Jose Sharks. They are 15-12-1 on the season to, of course, our 9-15-3 record. In their last 10 games, they've gone 6-4-0. They're currently sitting on a one-game winning streak. So why not just send them back to the losing column? That's what I think we should do. Obviously, the Seattle Kraken did pick up a point as they sent it into overtime against the Columbus Blue Jackets, but for the second time this season, they fell in overtime to Columbus. Look at these stats right there. The power play, obviously a sore spot for the Seattle Kraken. We talk about that every week. 19.4% on the power play for the San Jose Sharks, 14th overall in the league. The penalty kill, they also have a good penalty kill at 86.1%, 4th overall in the league to the Seattle Kraken's 14th. Face-off, good at the face-off. Goals for, scoring 2.68 goals a game and letting up 2.71. The Seattle Kraken are letting in 3.59 goals per game. Yikes. Yowza. Woof. Can you tell I'm not thrilled? I'm not thrilled. All right. Now, here's the other thing. As you'll see right here, this is also a division rival. The Seattle Kraken at the bottom of the barrel, 21 points. Even Vancouver has a better record than the Seattle Kraken right now. Can't keep that going. Needless to say, there is separation between the Kraken and the San Jose Sharks in the division. Let's hear, before we hear from Alexander True, before we close out this segment, let's hear from Dave Haxtell on why he feels getting a win against divisional rivals is extremely important for his Seattle Kraken team.
Know the importance of them, and bottom line is we got to be better in these divisional games. If we want to have an opportunity to climb back into things, these are very, very important games. Guys know that, and at the end of the day, we can talk all that we want. We have to go out and we have to play well in these games, and we have to earn points in these games, 100%.
So there you have it. This is a really important game. We do know that players, again, across the NHL, but especially on this Seattle Kraken team, are in COVID protocol. Dave Haxtell confirmed that. Grubauer will go tomorrow. He said that is the plan. As we know, things change. But Chris Drieger, in and out of the lineup, and Ryan S. Clark had some great questions asking, how do you balance getting Chris some reps, also giving Gruby some rest versus getting him in the game? Drieger was expected to be that goalie tandem. Hasn't really worked out, hasn't been able to stay healthy. So how much do you want to push a guy that's already been on the injured reserve twice this season? So follow Ryan S. Clark if you're not already. Had some great questions there. So Driegs is going to get the start. Also, someone we're expecting to get some action, and I'm expecting this line in particular to do some great things, is Alexander True. Here's him talking to the media yesterday after practice.
You played on a line with Donskoy and Donato the other night. It looked like you guys had some pretty good chemistry. How tough was that, or how easy was that? I know you were with the team in training camp, but it's been a while. You've been gone for a little bit. How easy was it to slide right in there?
Well, both those players are great players, so make the game a lot easier for me. Just because how well they play the game. They're always in a good spot. So it helps a lot playing in between those two.
Obviously, not your first time getting called up to the NHL, but previously it was with the Sharks organization. I'm just curious. I mean, I know that obviously their AHL team is right there in San Jose as well. How much of a whirlwind was this experience for you getting called up compared to your times getting called up in San Jose?
Yeah, it was obviously a lot easier in San Jose. Just walk through a different door. So this time around, it was it's been a bit of an adjustment with the time change and the travel of the day of and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just got to get used to it.
Ryan Clark.
Hey, Alex, when it comes to being in Charlotte, like, how does that work for like all of you who are Kraken players versus guys who are Panther players? And how does that feel compared to San Jose, where in San Jose, you're all under the same umbrella, whereas if now you're in this joint operation? So like, what's that been like?
Well, it's we actually have a really good bond down in Charlotte, even though we're mixed affiliates. Yeah, so we have a good camaraderie down there, and it's fun to cheer for your teammates when they get called up. So there's more times you get to cheer for them when there's two teams. So that way it's kind of cool.
So there you go. Alexander True, obviously, like Donato, has a history with San Antonio. The history a little bit different, though. And as you could hear, Alexander True, a little bit of a different tune to his memories of San Jose. But what I do like is that those line pairings that, that we're seeing. And Emerald City Hockey posted their projected lines. Axel said he didn't expect much to change. This is what we had last time. Jaden Schwartz, Alexander Hoenberg, Jordan Eberle, Marcus Johansson, Jared McCann, Mason Appleton, Brandon Tanev, Morgan Geeky, Kelly Yarncroke, and Ryan Donato, Alexander True, and Jonas Donskoy. So that's what we're rolling with. You're going to hear from all three forwards on the fourth line. We already heard from Ryan Donato. Just heard from Alexander True. That means Jonas Donskoy is up on the next segment of Locked on Kraken. And we're going to talk essentially about line pairings. We're going to talk about this group of guys coming back to their former team and what that means for the Seattle Kraken. First, let me tell you about Stance Socks. I am a huge Stance Socks fan, been a Stance Socks fan for years. And when they really talk about having a radical reinvention of socks and there being personality in socks, I totally get that. Now, they have listed for us some of the specialty socks that they have. I can tell you I personally own Pulp Fiction socks, Brooklyn Dodgers Stance socks, Nightmare Before Christmas Stance socks, Seattle Rain Stance socks. So that's covered a Negro League, that's covered baseball, women's soccer, Disney, as well as Quentin Tarantino. So needless to say, Stance has a great collection of socks. Star Wars, Goonies, Bob Marley, Spike Lee has a Stance socks collection. I just love it. And yeah, they're soft, they're made well, and they have a great fit. Stance believes that the perfect fit matters more than fitting in, that those who feel good do good. So go see for yourself. Head over to stance.com, become a member. Sign up to be a member and you'll get 50% off your first order when you use promo code LOCKED ON at checkout. That's promo code LOCKED ON at checkout at stance.com for 15% off your first order after becoming a member. I am a massive Stance sock fan, and so we want you to become a part of the family where you can enjoy the color and comfort of a life less ordinary with Stance. You've heard from Alexander True. You've heard from Ryan Donato. All three of these guys, kind of like the revenge game. Each one had a little bit of a different flavor, a different flair. But again, my prediction is that the Seattle Kraken can get a win versus San Jose, but that it depends on this line and their productivity. Here is Jonas Donskoy.
It means a lot. It's always fun to come back here, and for those two guys as well. I was talking with them this morning, and they were excited as well to come back here, and I was here 4 years. A lot of good memories, like you said, Cup finals, and we had some good teams here. We were able to be successful. So a lot of good memories and always fun to come back. Yeah, I think, like you said, I've kind of gone through these stretches before too, and I feel like I've grown up a little bit. I have more experience now, so I feel like in the past I was maybe beating myself up too much. I was in my head and all that kind of stuff, and I feel like I've been able to kind of not think about it too much, if you know what I mean. Obviously, I want to score goals, and hopefully it starts going into the net soon here. But I'm not thinking about it too much. I'm only thinking about the performance and practicing and making sure I'm ready for games. And like you said, doing those other small things as good as I can, and just trust that it's gonna come. Yeah, he played his last game with us, and on the line with me and Donato. So I really like his game. He's a big guy. He works hard. Good foretaker, and good defensively. So I think he's a super balanced player, and I like him as a center. So yeah, excited to keep going with him.
Jonas Donskoy has 3 assists. You heard him kind of joke around. Doesn't have a goal yet, but he's due. And you've been hearing in media for the last handful of days. People telling Ryan S. Clark, people telling, Darren Brown and myself that Donskoy's doing all the right things. Hackstall's saying it too. He's doing the right things. So he's due. You heard Donato talk about how he feels about playing against San Jose. Very curious as to why he wasn't given the opportunity to thrive there, is essentially how I took what he said and what we played at the beginning of the show. So not only does the Seattle Kraken need to have a really solid fourth line performance, but this could be the line. And maybe Hackstall is, some kind of genius or something. You need productivity from your fourth line, then why the heck not put your fourth line? You're given the opportunity because of COVID protocol and injuries to have all these guys really hyped up and fired up to play against their old team. I hope it works. What does it got to look like, though, for Seattle? They don't start very quick. I'd love to see that fourth line in particular. That means Hackstall has to make sure he's weaving them in and out of there. But let's get that fourth line out there. Let them be aggressive. Goals by period. The Seattle Kraken, they score the most goals in the third period, whereas and I'll show this for you up here. The San Jose Sharks score the most in the second frame. Each team with 27 goals in the second frame. Now, what we also see is that the Seattle Kraken, they score the most in the third. They also give up the most in the third, whereas it's that second period. So I think if Seattle can start really strong, that will give them momentum into the second period, which statistically speaking is a good period for them to strike. And then we expect them to come through in the third. We obviously saw that they were able to send it into overtime the other day. So that's what I'd like to see. We talked about the power play. We talked about penalty kill, the goalie situation. It is going to be Chris Driedger. Man. Every time that guy gets a good start, then he goes on the IR. So I'm hoping we get a good performance out of him. It will be Philip Grubauer in net. At least that's the plan, because the Seattle Kraken have a back-to-back. Tomorrow is the Seattle Kraken game day. My sleep schedule is going to be so jacked, but it's going to be so worth it. The Seattle Kraken, we're going to pick up a win. We're going to pick up a win on the road, maybe even 2, but it's happening. So you better watch out, San Jose. You better watch out, Anaheim, because the Kraken, that one eye, it's coming for you. Oh, yeah. I mean, we got to get hyped for the game, right? Also, I'm probably going to have to take a nap in order to stay awake for this one, but it'll be totally worth it. So if you're not already, make sure you're following Locked On Kraken on social media, because if indeed I do stay up for the game and I'm able to do a post-game reaction, that's where you're going to find it. Here's how you find us, just in case you didn't know. But I am your host, Erica Lindsay Ayala. I have some really exciting things coming up for the Olympics and Paralympics. We're going to talk about that. But first, let's get through these games. We're going to talk about World Juniors. Obviously, we have to keep an eye on what's happening with COVID, but you know the drill. It's a game day, but every day. Here on Locked On Kraken, we remind you to hold fast, to stay true, and always we say, let's go Kraken.